As we head into the new year, I hope you will enjoy me reading from this book entitled Together, The Healing Power of Human Connection in a Sometimes Lonely World by Dr. Vivek Murthy. I picked a few excerpts from Chapter 7 entitled Circles of Connection. If we imagine human connections forming through a process that starts within each of us, then reaches out to others and loops us closer together, what would we call that process? The best term may be friendship. Everyone at virtually every stage and station of life needs friends. Friendship, in essence, is the social glue that keeps couples, families, kindred spirits, and communities together. It's fundamental to successful professional as well as personal relationships. Yet some people have more difficulty than others when it comes to making and keeping friends, and this obstacle can raise the risk of loneliness. On the other hand, those who are skilled at friendship may have a natural defense against prolonged or severe loneliness. Fortunately, these skills can be developed. Of course, not all friendships are equally close. Even high-quality social connections naturally vary in intimacy, intensity, and depth. If you imagine yourself as the center of your social world, you can visualize an inner, middle, and outer circles of friendship as a series of rings around a bullseye. Humans have formed these different levels of friendship ever since we were hunter-gatherers. These three circles of connection roughly correspond to three dimensions of loneliness: intimate, relational, and collective. We all need close friends and intimate confidants with whom we share deep bonds of mutual affection and trust. We need casual friends and social relationships that offer shared support and connection. And we need to belong to communities of people, neighbors, colleagues, classmates, and acquaintances with whom we experience a sense of collective purpose and identity. In the simplest evolutionary terms, within our inner circle, we rely on a small set of people for protection, support, and sustenance. These are our romantic partners, the close friends and family that we depend on in a crisis, the people we want to spend time with on a frequent basis. These inner circle relationships are our strongest mutual bonds. They also require the most time and energy, which limits the number of such relationships that we can sustain to about 15 at any given time. The middle circle, the occasional companions. As essential as our inner circle relationships are, the middle circle, which may expand our friendships to 150 or so, is just as vital. In this social region, we may not necessarily know one another's deepest secrets, but we enjoy having our lives intersect. Middle circle friends provide a vital buffer against relational loneliness. When we were growing up, many of us may have taken our casual friendships for granted. Our classes, sports, camps, and clubs gave us plenty of opportunities to cultivate our middle circle. We saw most of our friends every day in school or around the neighborhood. Such casual connections are harder to establish in adulthood, especially when we've left our hometowns and plunged into career and family demands. Not only is there less time for social activities, but competition and status can complicate the bonds of friendship. But most of us can form new middle circle friendship just as we did when we were kids, by joining groups. Whatever our age, humans tend to meet one another by gathering and we tend to gather around shared interests and activities like sports, the arts, or a neighborhood potluck. Belonging to a group can help reduce stress, repair emotional damage, and promote meaning and purpose. This is why groups also form around common struggles and why so many forms of therapy today include support groups. Much of this therapeutic effects stems from the way we interact when we gather. We tell stories, we laugh, we sing and dance and play music. We move and walk and work together. We give and take, call and respond, and synchronize with one another. This behavior comes naturally in every culture on earth. The author ends this chapter with a personal story. That August morning in 1992, I huddled with my family in our living room as 200-mile-per-hour wind gusts and torrential rain poured through Miami. Through a small opening in the wooden barricades on our windows, we could see debris whipping past palm trees bent as if bowing to the storm. After the winds died down, we ventured out into a virtual war zone. Telephone poles had snapped like toothpicks. Roofs were shredded, fish were blown into the trees, and crabs were scattered on the ground, even though we were over a mile from the ocean. Like countless South Florida residents, we found ourselves without power, water, or telephone lines for weeks. But we were fortunate that our home was still standing. Andrew left more than 160,000 Florida residents homeless. It was a bleak and lonely experience to look out over that scene. In the face of tragedy, however, something wonderful happened. Those who had been affected by the storm suddenly came together. Neighbors who'd lived side by side for years but hardly spoke began helping to clear one another's property. One of ours helped us find a backhoe to move one of our big trees that had fallen. And people whose homes had been spared drove nearly an hour from Broward County to bring us food and water. Hurricane Andrew created a powerful sense of connection in South Florida. A community formed in our formerly disconnected region, and with service as the binder, friendship flourished and loneliness subsided. Hurricane Andrew catalyzed the process of connection that comes naturally to us all when we give it a chance. Family, friends, and strangers alike spent meaningful time in each other's company. We learned one another's names and shared our stories. We offered and asked each other for assistance and support. We shared both the burden of our losses and relief of recovery. We dared to get to know each other and to extend genuine kindness to strangers as they did for us. We didn't all become close friends, but through the sharing of attention, service, and time, we made meaningful connections. We gained courage as confidence in ourselves, as well as in the resilience of the human spirit. We grew stronger together. But it shouldn't take a tragedy for strangers to meet and help one another. As neighbors and communities, we need to learn how to hold on to that spirit of mutual concern and service, even when the crisis is not so obvious. We must resist the tendency to slip back into our separate preoccupations after neighborhood dramas subside. Community can be a vital resource, not just in moments of public anxiety, but in quiet, private times of need too. It can also enhance our quality of life and our human experience. I hope you enjoyed these inspirational paragraphs from Dr. Murthy's book. And I invite you to reflect on those circles of connections or circles of friendships around you. And I want to extend an invitation to join our community to discover those much needed connections with others. If not for you, for someone that is in need of a friend today. Thank you.